Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome everyone to the Brass Ring Media podcast. It is I, Ashley. My settings are super bright. I have no idea what's going on. My camera resolution is like super bright. I've been trying to mess around with it. I don't know, but what's up, guys? Welcome. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you're watching on replay, if you're gonna trickle in live, I appreciate that as well. If you're watching on Twitter, appreciate that as well. Apologies for the late start. Just had some logging in issues, but we are here now, and we will be getting right to it because, as you can see, ate up some of the time there, but we will get right into it. But as always, like I said, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. We will be getting into a little bit of SmackDown, and then I wanted to touch on AEW as well. The recent developments, or the continuation, probably not developments, but the continuation rather from Double or Nothing, and the fact that good old Hangman is now heading over to All In to face off against Jon Moxley. Thank God that's finally, hopefully, going to be a title change. I don't know though. We'll see. So we'll definitely be getting into that. And like I said, I wanted to touch on some happenings from SmackDown. Not, to be honest with you guys, it wasn't that great of a show. Like it was fine, but like I really don't feel like much happened from it. So like I was sitting here this morning just kind of thinking back on SmackDown. I behind the scenes note, when I am doing when I'm setting up the show or whatever here on Saturday mornings, I try to go and watch the replay. Like WWE does a great job with like a SmackDown recap or like a Raw recap and stuff. So I go back and watch that just to kind of refresh, even though it's only been not even 12 hours, 10 hours, right? But just to go back and see if anything hits differently or whatever. And sometimes I'm not rushing watching it on replay. Some working Friday nights, but just sometimes you miss shit the first time around, or you may change your opinion watching it a second time. And last night was not one of them. Those nights, or this morning, it had like a couple like good moments, I think, but like in a very good match, with Javon Evans, making his way to the, not officially, but getting to showcase himself on the main roster on SmackDown on a big audience, right, and a big scene. Depending on where you're at in the world, you may watch it on Netflix. I have been watching it on Netflix as well. Good old VPN. But I was very, very surprised and kind of stoked to see Javon get his moments to shine on the main roster, along with Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page really looked the part. Dude, like, we've seen him dressed up before and looking the part, like he's never been one of those wrestlers that comes out and doesn't look like $1,000,000, right? So the attire isn't necessarily anything new, but man, just seeing his presentation on SmackDown and like actually seeing him there, it just he fit, man. He looked the part. I think fit right in. I think he could low key. Look, I'm not saying he's going to get to the level. I think it'd be great, right? But I think he could low key be a little Miz. You know what I mean? Like, be a staple on the show, be a good host of the show if needed, and just kind of be like a utility player, be like a multi-man type of deal where he can fit in anywhere. And he could be that guy. And of course, not saying immediately when he moves to the main roster, throw him into that spot, but like the Miz, give him time to build. Like, if you guys remember the Miz, like when he first debuted, he was that like chicks dig me or something like that. I remember he had that weird ass shirt. It was like a chick and it was like a magnet, and then I forget what the other like image was, but he would wear that hat, like he had like the spiked hair, like the faux hawk. Yeah, like if you remember him, bro, like you remember that Miz, and look at him now. Like, look at him now. And Ethan Page isn't even going around there with, and I don't want to say as bad as early Miz was, but as different as early Miz was. But I just think, I don't know, like just something about seeing Ethan Page on the main roster and hearing him on, like commentary, and he's just kind of like meshed much better than I expected. I didn't necessarily think that he would have any issues, but like I spoke on one of the previous streams, it's all about the transition and the follow-up, mainly the follow-up once you're on the main roster. So I think that's going to be the key, obviously, for anyone going forward, but especially someone like an Ethan Page. I think he will find a way to make anything work, but still, you can only do but so much. You know what I mean? But I really dig it. I digged that segment. I think Los Garza, they needed to win, right? And it was a good little match. Like, I don't know. I think it served its purpose. So that was one of the highlights of the show for me. Obviously, the main event we'll get to in a second, but Bianca Belair made her return as well. They were in Tennessee, which is her home state, Knoxville, I believe. Her family was front row. Her mom's in a wheelchair. I'm not Obviously it's not my business, but I don't recall hearing anything happen. So I hope she's okay. I don't know if it's something temporary or whatever, but regardless, I hope her mom's doing okay and her family's doing well. It was still cool to see them there. Her family, man, like her mom just can't remove that smile from her face, and that's so cool to see. You know, like it's what a beautiful family. You know what I mean? So props to them, and props to the parents for being good sports about and not pressing charges on Naomi, because Naomi legit admitted in front of the world and in front of them that she broke into their house. And as far as we know, no charges have been pressed against Naomi. She's still a free woman. So props to Naomi for being able to get away with shit like that. And props to the Belair family for being real ones and not pressing charges and letting Bianca handle it in due time. So yeah. No, but seriously, like, I thought that segment was fine. I hope. Okay, so we'll kind of segue into the Money in the Bank qualifiers as well. I meant to pull up that list. But you guys, and God, this. Oh, I think I changed my screen brightness too, and I was doing the update to my computer. That's what it is too, because this shit is just blinding as fuck, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh shit! What did I just click on? I'm about to sign up for something. I don't even know what it is. But yeah, so I don't know what you guys think about the pool so far for the Money in the Bank qualifiers. I thought I had the list right here, but we do have an updated list. So obviously I want to go into that, but we have a big development going on Raw, apparently, as you all know, and it's so crazy. Like I feel blessed, y'all. Like that I was able to see Stephanie Vaquera at Battleground, and apparently, and not apparently, but what ended up being her last successful title defense and her last NXT PLE, at least for some time. She ended up, excuse me, dropping the title and losing the title on NXT Tuesday to JC Jane. So that's surprising, and I think like I was just sitting there talking about too, like you could get like another like 6-ish months out of both her and Jordan Grace for that matter, and having her moved up to Raw so soon. I'm not gonna say I'm against it right now. I'm gonna wait and see how it plays out, but I still think they could have got more out of her being in NXT, and it makes me wonder if the dynamics between the relationship on the main roster and NXT are changing a little bit more and morphing together a little bit more, because just like what I said earlier with the inclusion of Javon Evans and his tag match and Ethan Page and now Stephanie Vaquer being brought up and Julia, and they were integrated. No, Julia, I don't say integrated. That's not correct, but they were shown on the main roster a couple times, maybe just once prior to actually transitioning to the main roster. And before, it used to be a big deal. It used to be a big reveal. It was almost like two different companies in a way, right? Like when Kevin Owens came up, for instance, it was this, and obviously I know this was years ago, but it was a big deal when you saw the NXT champion showing up and squaring off against John Cena for the US Open Championship, and starting a little mini feud they were seeing, which I thought was just great. But other than that, like you normally get a full debut, whether it's the Raw after Mania or a Raw after a PLE or whatever. So it's just interesting. And again, I'm not going to say I'm necessarily against it, but in regards to Stephanie, I think, man, I just still think they should have, or not should have, they could have gotten more out of her in NXT, but they did get a lot out of her in that short time frame. So, props to Shawn Michaels for the booking of that. And he's probably well aware by now. He has to get in, get on when he gets a new talent, because that talent is going to be poached ASAP. So, and again, it's not a bad thing. That's the whole point of the developmental system, right? And the whole point of NXT. But you would just think NXT or Triple H would have a closer understanding of the need for substance and the need for transition onto the main roster, and the need for even if it's not, like, I'm not saying they have to go to the main roster and hit the ground running and go for a title or the main event or anything like that. Like, that's kind of absurd. But at least have some type of story in mind for them. So that's where I think the transitioning for NXT in regards is kind of lacking. But with Stephanie Vaquer, like I said, making her transition and officially being moved to the Raw roster so soon in this past week, she, I believe, already is official. Let me pull the list again. Or she'll be in a qualifier match, rather. Da-da-da. I can't believe Money in the Bank is next week already, guys. Crazy. But so far, we have in the women's Money in the Bank or in the match itself, we have Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, and one final slot to be determined. In the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, we have Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, and one additional entrant. Just to finish off the Money in the Bank card here, we have, of course, WWE Champion, the last real champion, John Cena, and Logan Paul facing off against the World Heavyweight Champion, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes in a tag team match. And then we also have Lyra Valkyria facing off against Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Lynch cannot challenge for the title again if Valkyria wins, and if Becky wins, Valkyria must look Lynch in the eye and raise her hand. Which is okay. Like, I get it, because of the story and literally, like I said, how Becky has made it personal and all that stuff. But like, I'd want more than just fucking raising my hand. The referee can do that shit, and I get it. Like, it's my opponent. Like, I understand that, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I want you to acknowledge me and not say it like that, obviously. But bro, like, come on, like, do more than just a handshake. And I don't know. I get it. Like I said, I get it. But like, if it's me, bro, I'm asking for a little bit more, especially since what Becky is putting up, Becky is not going to challenge for the title again as long as Valkyria is the champion if she loses. So I don't know, man. It feels bad. I'd want a little bit more. Maybe that's selfish. But what's up, guys? I'm about to dive into the chat here really quick, and then we will move on to not a full, obviously, AEW Double or Nothing review, because that's been done already, but an update as we have had Dynamite now. So I'm pulling up those links here. But we have another roster update from AEW, which is not groundbreaking, but interesting. All right. Well, not really interesting, to be honest with you. It's kind of expected, but we'll see. We'll see if this individual makes it anywhere else. But, guys, before we get into the review, a recent update has been made to the AEW roster, and that is in regards to one of Abaddon. They posted on Twitter yesterday morning, stating, "My time with AEW is coming to an end. My contract expires in June and I will not be renewed, but the emotions I'm currently trying to manage are incredibly difficult and full of conflict as I reflect on my time there. My goal is to not let this be it for me because I love wrestling too much to just stop. I put in a lot of hard work that I will now be able to showcase more often. While my heart is currently broken, you can bet that I'm still going to show up for training next week." Interesting. "If you're looking to book me, please send an email to bookabaddonhere@gmail.com. What a great email. Simple and fucking to the point. Book Abaddon here. I fucking love that. Good for you. I don't want to say the wrong pronoun, but good for you, Abaddon. But that's interesting, though. They say, while my heart is currently broken, which makes sense, you can bet that I'm still going to show up for training next week. I wonder if if they're training anywhere in particular, like if they mean like a AEW type of training facility, like for instance when Cody Rhodes was still there. And I don't know if Talon is still, I don't know the relationship at this point, but Cody has a Nightmare Factory, right? In Georgia. QT Marshall, I believe it's maybe, I don't know if he's still the head trainer, but at one point was the head trainer, and Cody pops in as well. Kind of like what Seth Rollins does in Illinois. But, or no, Iowa. I'm sorry for Seth. He's in Iowa. But, and it's dope. I went out there one day, years ago, when I was contemplating life choices going forward and the next route. And I didn't get to go in, obviously, because it's a closed facility, but it's nice. It's nice. And he loves coffee as well. And so it's like the wrestling school. And literally at the end of it, it's obviously separate part, but this at the end of the building, there's a little coffee shop that Seth owns as well. And that made me love Seth even more. I was like, bro, what a fucking great guy. Because that's literally me, bro. Like coffee, wrestling, can't get much better than that. So yeah, but when they mentioned like the training, just made me think like I wonder where they're training at, unless it's just like training they're doing on their own, like in the ring, like just solo. Which props them for that. But yeah, we'll be getting into. I'm gonna go live maybe later today or tomorrow on my channel, Kakash Podcast. Just in because time constraints here. I have to get ready to do a few things, but I don't, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But regardless, I will be addressing and giving my thoughts on the whole Mariah May thing. I think that's very interesting. And yeah, speaking of Money in the Bank, I don't think we're going to see a debut or an entrant, rather, of Mariah May in the Money in the Bank match itself. I think that may be reserved for Stephanie Becker. So we'll see. But some recent updates on that, and I think it's pretty interesting. So yeah, best wishes to Abaddon in the future. Wish them nothing but the best. And sorry if I have like a little bit of a lisp, guys. I chipped my tooth, so that's fun. I'll be going to the dentist on Monday. But yeah, it's like the back portion of my tooth. So it like my tongue kind of catches it a little bit, and I'm still getting used to it, right? Because the shit just happened. But yeah, so if I sound a little lispy, a little Cody Rhodes-esque, let me know. Or you can let me know. I don't care. But I apologize. And hopefully it'll get fixed on Monday. But yeah. So, like I said, we're going to get into Dynamite. And I just really wanted to talk about, which is most likely obvious, the opening segment and the addressing of the lay of the land and the win of Hangman and kind of getting into that with Ospreay and Swerve and that nature. But good morning, guys. Good morning, Universal. Good morning, Fernando. Good morning, the boss. Good morning. Good morning. Dr. Ross, the doctor is in the house. So now we have a credentialed being in the house officially. Dr. Ross, the doctor is here. Good morning, sir. Fernando, my guy. We're going to get into your comments in particular. Zach, good morning, man. Good morning. Good morning. Zach Minger. Appreciate you guys popping in. And then everyone over on Twitter as well. I appreciate you guys also for popping in and for being flexible. I didn't intend for the show to start later today. It was just some login issues. So that's that. But I appreciate you guys for always being there and for watching on replay as well. But getting into Dynamite itself, like I said, obviously the main thing I wanted to discuss here and to give time to in 2 segments really, but the main one was Hangman Page. I thought he did a fantastic job of the follow-up, and props to AEW for setting the scene and allowing him to address the fans, and really taking the time to explain all the emotions that he's been through in his journey and what the victory means to him and his intentions, and I think that's, even if it's cliche and what you would expect, babyface to do, it's still important to hear and it's still important to see because that really sets the tone. And if the babyface isn't confident, if the good guy isn't confident going into it, or if he's just kind of, you can tell, right? Like you can tell when someone's passionate about the story that they're in, the role that they're involved in, and when they're not, and it's been called what, boo boo face. That's more so when you can tell like a wrestler's gonna lose when they're making their entrance. That term really just cracks me up, and it's true. Some of them you can, and some of them you can. And honestly, like I don't even think about that 90% of the time when I'm watching it. But Hangman got me, bro. Like Hangman really brought me in. And I'm happy that AEW took the time to allow that to happen, because there's been a lot of scenarios and outcomes when even new champions being crowned and they didn't get their declarative mission statement. They didn't get that moment to really either thank the audience or shit on the audience, and to really just express what the title means to them. And obviously if you're a good guy or a bad guy, you can do that in differing in various forms. But I just think, especially with Heyman in particular, you needed to have him go out there and again not only explain why the redemption for himself personally is something that he needs to achieve and he needs to kind of conquer, like the full circle moment, but also why the championship plays into that and how that is the last piece and that's what's truly going to make him whole type thing. So I dug that. And again, I think that allowing him the opportunity to go out there, reconnect with the fans, really is what needed, or what was needed for his redemption character to kind of latch on, and to kind of like confirm that we're both on the same page, right? Like we as fans, we're rocking for Paige and Paige is rocking for us type shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Osprey coming out, I thought was interesting. To be honest with you, I didn't expect to see him. I thought he was gonna maybe take some time off and maybe not even long, but like a week or two, and just sell the physicality of the match, one, and then just the defeat, and then maybe have him, even if it was just a week, and have him come back next week and maybe do something similar, right? If Hangman is in the ring, because it's going to be interesting to see too what they do follow-up wise, because there's what, 6 weeks between now and the pay-per-view, so they're gonna have a lot of time to fill. But I think you could have maybe bought another week potentially, but no big deal there, just like a minor observation. But I liked how Osprey came out. Well, I'm sorry, Swerve came out first and kind of addressed like the elephant in the room, right? How the Young Bucks came back and screwed him in his match and said they did it for Hangman, and now Hangman is conveniently in the spot to challenge for the title and be the next one to dethrone Moxley. So, the next contender to dethrone Moxley. So, I think that having Swerve play that indecisive guy fits his character very well. Also, I think Swerve should not be just one of those guys that's like super forgiving and is willing to overlook things or doesn't connect the dots. Swerve, I think he does a very good job of that, and I liked what he did. He came out there, he confronted Hangman, he said what he needed to say, right, about what the Bucks. He showed the video clip too, and I liked that. I liked how because the WWE does it way more obviously than AEW, but they'll conveniently have a clip ready for someone interrupting the other person, right? And I liked how Swerve was the one who came out there and was calling the shots, and he was the one who had set up everything. Obviously, he knew he was going to show the video because that was the whole point of him going out there, and he knew that, right? So you believed that was his purpose going out there, was to confront Hangman, not to necessarily like beat his ass or get physical or anything like that, but to confront him and to get his side and to be like, yo, bro, like, what the fuck? Essentially, like your boys came out there and cost me my shot because they were doing it for you. So what's going on? And we've seen little glimpses of them trying to not necessarily forgive each other, but to, I mean, yes, but to kind of acknowledge like a foundational mutual respect after all the bullshit they went through with each other last year. So if I'm Swerve, that's kind of low-key in the back of my mind too. Like I'm not gonna admit it, right? And voice it but you were getting to that point where things were, you could be in the same room and not want to kill each other and not want to do all these crazy things, right? But Hangman having the Bucks come back and potentially screw Swerve over, that was kind of like a slap in the face again. And I liked how, again, Swerve confronted that. Hangman was like, "No, it wasn't me." And Osprey, he didn't get a chance to, but Osprey came out and he said something and was like, it's not me, it's not you, it's him, in regards to being the one to dethrone Moxley. That's my go-to. But I think that having Osprey try to be the guy to bring the two together, because Osprey is right. And I like how he's making it known and bringing up the obvious again. They are going to need a team to defeat the Death Riders. They have that numbers advantage, which they've had for going on a year now. Well, that's exaggerating. Once we're at All In, it'll be closer to a year, which is crazy to think. Because it was, October? And then All In will be in, well, that's still, 4 months-ish away, not even. But it's close enough. So going on, 8 months at that point? Rough math. But, very long, right? And it's the same shit. And I'm so fucking tired of seeing Wheeler Yuta come out and be the interference. And for those who want to compare, Solo Sikoa doing it for Roman Reigns, I got to a point where I was tired of seeing that as well. It's only so many times you can see the same thing regardless of the story, whether it's a fantastic story or if it's a shit story. So, yeah. I am done with seeing Wheeler Yuta. I am hoping that once and for all, at All In, Hangman takes the victory and Moxley is no longer the champion, and we end the Death Riders. We put death to the Death Riders. We bring death. But I hope, man. I fucking hope, because if not, and they truly are waiting for Darby Allin to come back, bro, I will probably lose my mind, just because it you've gone so heavy with Hangman now, and it's almost like you have to give it to Hangman, and if you don't, if you're Tony Khan, bro, I can't wait to see the reactions. Low-key, now that I think about it, low-key, I kind of hope he doesn't he doesn't pull the trigger and has Moxley retain, because can you imagine the backlash? Because again, I'm not much on social media much, as you guys know. I should be on it more to promote shit. But there are AEW, what do they call it, sickos and diehards who will defend to the end. And even some of them that I have seen and come across, they are done with Moxley being the champion. So I think the visual that we will have ending All In will be Hangman with his hand raised in victory, the briefcase being presented to him, and magically him being able to open it, or possibly earlier in the match, him stealing the key from Marina Shafir and being handed the briefcase and being able to unlock the briefcase and present good old, I almost called her big gold. That's travesty. You can't compare the two. But being able to present Triple B, right? The AEW World Championship that we haven't seen, and at that point it'll be about 8 months. So, yeah, I think they did a great job, like I said, in regards to the follow-up for Hangman, Osprey, and Swerve. Now I hope they give Osprey some time off. Give the dude like a week or two. You have plenty of time. And have the next week or two be the confliction between Hangman and Swerve. So, because that'll also buy you time to kind of stall between Hangman and Moxley as well. I did think it was odd, though, that Hangman went out there, they had that whole segment, and then the very next segment was Moxley and the Death Riders coming out. It's like, okay, like he's not concerned by what Hangman had to say or anything. So it was just kind of like, I just would have at least put one other thing, like just broke it up by one segment. But I just thought that was kind of funny. But next up, well, not next up, but kind of bookending the show, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the confrontation and the first meeting of Toni Storm, Timeless Toni Storm, and Mercedes Moné. Obviously, Mercedes won the Owen Hart Women's Tournament, almost a championship, which technically there is a championship, but she won the right to challenge Toni Storm at All In for the AEW Women's Championship. And guys, like I don't know, like I'm 50-50 on who I think is going to win this one. Obviously, we'll do official predictions once the entire card is made and we're closer to the event. But whereas I feel more strongly about Hangman winning the title at All In, I don't know what they're gonna do at Mercedes. And my gal is Tony Storm, man. I respect the hell out of Mercedes Moné, and I'm a fan of Mercedes. Like, has the booking been great in AEW? No, but the matches are getting better. I think it was just like a transition period, right? And just getting acclimated to the new environment, the new talent, the difference, and I'm sure the setup backstage, the production, and things like that. So it's a transitional period, right? And some people adapt quicker. I'm not even saying that was the issue or a issue. Just kind of spitballing my thoughts here. But I think she did go through a little bit of a rough patch story-wise. And to be fair, the story that she had with Britt was not, with it not being that great, wasn't all her fault. There's still speculation on what's going on with Britt. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing to kind of keep on the back burner. My dog is digging to make a bed. Sorry if you guys can hear that in the background. But I think Mercedes is on the right path now, and I'm very intrigued to see who ends up taking the W between her and Tony Storm at All In. I think it's still too early to predict. I mean, I know I want Tony Storm to win, but I don't know. I think there's something to be said for them wanting to pull the trigger and keep Mercedes undefeated and have her win all the championships. But I just think that's kind of a bad look too, like having her come in and being this ex-WWE talent and going undefeated and winning literally every championship that they have to offer and damn near every women's championship in the industry, So I think they have to be very careful with that. So, right, that's why right now I'm leaning Tony Storm, but I think it could be a fun story, and not even having her or saying she would keep both titles long term if she did win, but I don't know. And possibly they could get to a point where they end up making it a title for title and merging it, but I don't see that happening because I think they would have come about this differently. So we'll see. We will see. But guys, I want to get into your comments here, and then like I said, I'll be jumping off in a little bit. But Universal, yeah, man. You said you got over 1,000 subscribers on your podcast now. Yeah, bro. I did, and I do. I'm super stoked about that. I was shocked when I logged back into the YouTube studio on my phone. So I'm very, very stoked about that over on the Kick-Ass podcast. We're the little channel that could, man. We're growing. We're growing. So I appreciate all of your support and all of y'all's just dedication, man, and for being there for me. I appreciate it. It's very fun to watch it grow. And like I said, like that's the enjoyment I get out of it. It's just watching the channel grow and to see what it can become. So that's pretty cool. And I appreciate that, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But buenos dias, Fernando. ¿Cómo estás, mi amigo? ¿Cómo estás? Okay, Universal, yeah. You had said lots of news this week. SmackDown was a bad show. Only must see Tiffany and Chelsea and John Cena were good. I like the Los Garzas and Evans and Phoenix and Ethan Page was good. Yeah. Tiffany and Chelsea, like the Tiffany segment, especially backstage with Naomi, I think that was very well done as well. It was in the sense that it was simple to the point and just established like a little seed, between Tiffany and Naomi. I think Tiffany is really coming into her own. And yeah, I'm just glad she's away from Charlotte, to be honest with you. Fernando, you said JC winning the NXT championship is a terrible decision. Yeah, bro, I'm still kind of perplexed on that decision. So I'm gonna see how it plays out, but I'm not thrilled about it, to be honest with you. Okay, University said, Ash, I agree. It is too early to bring up NXT wrestlers to main roster. Ratings are at an all-time low, and they need to get people watching. By bringing new faces, they are hoping to get ratings higher. Yeah, man, I totally get that, but like I don't necessarily see that happening with Stephanie Vaquer. As much as we all love her and how she's amazing, bringing her up on Monday and sitting her, it's not going to be an overnight fix. And I'm not saying that you're even indicating that they're expecting it to be an overnight fix. It's going to take time. and that's what I fear, is just that they're like, with some, and definitely not Stephanie Becerra, but with other talents like a Cameron Grimes, for instance, like, who did pretty well in NXT and who could have been a fun character, like I brought up last week. He was brought to the main roster and they just did nothing with him. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that he was going to bring in hundreds of thousands of viewers or make big difference in their ratings, but like you said, like, they're bringing up new faces, trying to get ratings. Like, you need to, yes, bring up new faces, establish them, give a brief backstory, but give people a reason to care about them and be invested. And that's what brings people back, but not just calling someone your number one draft pick and then giving them shit each week. Like, if you're Carmella, And again, I'm happy Carmella's getting time, and not even saying, like, again, like, I don't ever mean that anyone who's called up to NXT should go straight to the main event scene. They should just be treated in their role, right? And all the crap I've been talking about, the transition, you look at a Braun Breaker, and I think that has been just fantastically done so far. So there are definitely some hits as well. I'm not going to sit here and go through all the hits and misses for that. It could be a fun show, though, to do in the future. But just makes me nervous, man. As a fan, just makes me nervous. Universal coming in hot with the spoilers. Okay, yeah, and Fernando, or Universal, you're responding to Fernando saying that Abaddon should go to TNA. And Fernando, you said she would be perfect, or they would be perfect for Abaddon would be perfect for TNA. And yeah, I could totally see that. Mixing in with like Rosemary and all that shit, 100%. 100%. Oh, today is Bianca's husband's birthday. Happy birthday, Montez. Happy birthday, Montez. That's dope, dude. That is dope. Happy birthday to him. Every morning he sends a tweet like around 6, 7 and in the morning, and he says God is good. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, bro, yeah, Bianca Belair, you're a fucking fantastic athlete. Yeah. You're living your best life, bro. He's a former Marine, I believe. I know he was in the military. I'm pretty certain he was a Marine. I don't want to state that, but shout out to him, man. He's just fantastic. And every time I bring up, or Montez and Bianca are brought up, especially as a pair, I will stay on this hill until they say, what hill are you gonna die on? I will die on the hill that Montez and Bianca, before the end of their careers, respectively, they need to go on a run as a power couple. And man, I see it. I see them being like the next incarnation of like Triple H and Stephanie, man, just being this power couple. Obviously, it's not a power trip. And before I get ahead of myself, and you guys are like, what is she on? In the sense that they could, just the presence and the star power that they have. And obviously, Triple H was pretty much already a main eventer that solidified him in the main event scene. Stephanie is the daughter's boss, or the daughter's boss, the boss's daughter. So they had a completely different type of power, right? And I don't mean like a power trip in that sense. I just mean in the present sense. Like, they just, like, Montez and Bianca, they're a beautiful couple, and they look like money, man. They're charismatic, and there's just something about them individually. And I think Montez brings out a different personality and a different side, and a more like jovial like side of Bianca. And I just think that, man, regardless if they stayed as like good guys or bad guys, I just see them being the next like it couple, but to the point where it's like a power thing, because they both can just go in the ring, right? Like, Bianca is one of the best women's wrestlers out there. Montez, I think if he's given the opportunity as a single star, like I would love to see him work his way up to the main event scene and be, like a world heavyweight champion years from now, like maybe 2-3 years from now, depending on the trajectory and how much time and how serious they actually take that. And I'm not necessarily even calling for a Street Profits breakup. Like I've said in the past, you can have Angelo there being his muscle and being, I don't want to say the sidekick, but just being the muscle dude and being that badass force. So I just see it, man, like transforming their tag team into like a power stable is just, I don't know. I would just die on that hill for sure. But yeah. Oh, Universal. I didn't even notice that. That's dope. I appreciate that. What up, Devin Dowling? What up? What up? I don't even know what your name is, bro, but what up? What's up to you too? And Devin, you says heel swerve coming back. Yo, I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but low-key, I'm kind of hoping they don't, just because I like the position Swerve is in, and I think he could be a star of AEW going forward. And like I was saying on whatever show, and I've said in the past, another reason why I think it was a good idea for Hangman to win the tournament and potentially win the title as a whole is because he has so many stories built up to follow immediately, right? Like he and Ospreay can run it back and have a little mini feud for the title, or they can go to him and Swerve. Ideally, you would have a good guy and a bad guy, right? But Swerve, I think, is one of those unique characters where he can kind of teeter in like that shades of gray area, right? I don't know. But on the flip side too, he's so great as a heel, so I get it, man. I get it. But I kind of wanted to see like just like an edgier face version of him and just kind of keep where he's at, just kind of maybe add on to it. But can't go wrong with her, man, regardless. Dude, yes, Universal. You said this segment with Tony Storm and Monet was awesome. Monet trying not to laugh at Tony was the best part. Yeah, especially when Tony said that shit of like, or no, like when Monet brought, oh, what, like Tony brought up her hips, or like being was like someone was like the Monet or yeah, she was like, even my hips aren't wide enough for the Monet train or some shit like that, like. Fucking tremendous. And I that's why I was definitely looking forward to their feud as well. For another reason rather is just the segments in between the two of them. I think this is one of those where, I mean, yeah, they obviously got physical already, but I wouldn't even have done it so soon. Like I think you could have gotten 3, maybe even 4 weeks, teetering on that 4th week. Maybe that 4th week is when, someone slaps someone and they get into it. But I would have loved to seen like just a battle of the jabs, right? Just a battle of them going back and forth. Now, yes, Mercedes isn't known for like to be the best on the mic, but I just think that Tony would have opened up this other side of Mercedes where like she just lets loose, and like Mercedes, like the person, just kind of like just has fun with it, and because she's always been the boss and obviously now the CEO, and just she's not necessarily serious, right? Like she dances and stuff like that, and she laughs and not jokes around, but she's jovial, right? But she's I don't know, I can't really describe it, but at least like just take more freedom on the mic. I'm not saying like go out there and like disrespect Tony or anything like that, and not like go into business for yourself or anything like that, but just have fun, and because Tony is like one of those rare characters where, bro, like you can push the limit, and there's just so much you can do with it, and so much fun you can have, and I hope they delve into that, man. I hope they really do. Universal, yeah, you said AEW departures coming this week. Yeah, man, I'll definitely be getting into that either later today or tomorrow over on Kick Ash Podcast, just because of time purposes right now. Devin, you said Mox retaining would be epic. This feels like Luger beating Hogan in the summer of '97 just to give it back to Mox to reign until Darby returns to defeat him, like Sting at Starrcade. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, but the streets would burn. The IWC streets would burn, my friend. And I'm low-key kind of here for it. But as much as I would love to see the chaos, I'm over the death right. I need Hangman to win. I'm riding with Hangman, man. Literally. Pun intended. Mm-hmm. The boss, he said, coming soon, 5K subs. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that'd be crazy. It's so fun watching. I never even thought like I would get to 500. to be honest with you. Like, I thought maybe eventually, but people trickle in. But hitting 500 was pretty dope, and now 1,000, like, and then no, right? Like, just looking at like Brass Media and other like dominant channels out there, like 1K ain't shit. But to me, it's everything. I love it. So I appreciate you guys. And 5K is up next for sure. We're making our way, man. Making our way. Mackenzie, what up? What up? Welcome in. You said the Julia video package promo was brilliant and very well done. And thank you for bringing that up. I think she has advanced tremendously in her English. I was very surprised by it. I think so props to her for putting in that work. Maybe she's no, I don't, I just feel like she's improved a lot more. And it sounds so like I guess egotistical to say improved, right? Like, who am I to say she needs to learn English, right? But just since WWE is a North American, like, heavily in based promotion, right? Obviously, they travel worldwide, but and air worldwide. But there is something to be said about connecting with the audience promo wise, and I, like, it just feels so kind of pompous too, But like in the U.S. and Canada and things like that. So, yeah, just props to her for going or for proving that much. And I don't even think they needed the subtitles, to be honest with you. So props to them, or to Julia in particular, rather. James, what up, James? What up, sir? Thank you, Universally. He said, Tony, not even your hips are big enough for the Monet train. Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I loved it. And that, I just can't wait for more segments between the two of them. A lot of people seem to be down on, well, not a lot of people, but a couple of the shows that I watched on the Double or Nothing review and Mercedes going forward. People are down on it. Maybe it's just me. Like, I'm not down on it at all. Like, first of all, it's what I expected from months. Or not months, maybe, but once we had an idea of the, I guess it has been months now, the hype for All In and going into it and how they're promoting it, essentially kind of close to like their WrestleMania, which I have been saying for a couple years now, that AEW needed to pick one pay-per-view and solidify that as their WrestleMania and build to that and kind of steal the WWE model, really. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? And obviously make it your own. But that was one of the first things that I loved about AEW at that first Dynamite show that they did in DC. They had like a couple different like interactive stations set up, and one of them, it was like some type of effect. If you follow me on Twitter or on Instagram, it's from years ago now, 2019, but it was like this background. You know how they had like that splash paint and like the different like transition of a different kind of like smoke and like paint color type thing. They had that, it was like just like a little model of it, and you got to stand in front of it and take a picture as like a little video screen type thing. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. So they have so much potential and so much, or so many opportunities going forward, especially, not saying that to do it all this year, but going forward, really build All In to being like their version of their WrestleMania and make it like not, obviously it's going to take time. And I'm not saying they'll ever get to the WrestleMania stage because that's just insane, but really build it and make it your own, man. And I don't know. I just think that they have so much potential with that and have like a little access building into it, like the days and leading, especially. I think it's a great idea. Excuse me. Sorry. To keep it on Saturday, right? It's perfect. You could start with Wednesday, right? Have your Wednesday night Dynamite go home show. Have maybe your access start on like Thursday, do maybe Collision on Friday, and then have All In on Saturday, and then everyone can start heading home on Sunday, right? And then you guys can start your travel, the talent can go home on Sunday, whatever. I just think that's a decent layout. So I hope they end up doing something like that going forward. Universal, you had mentioned this earlier. Yeah, Mackenzie, or someone had mentioned it originally. I think you're agreeing. Oh, she is a horror movie and not a good one. There it is, Mackenzie. Yeah, Naomi is playing a heel character like a horror movie. I don't want to say it's. I don't know. I'm just happy that she changed shit up and she's doing something different, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum. Mackenzie, you said Jamie Hayter have a new storyline rivalry with a new member in the women's division. I'm interested where this goes with great storytelling. Yeah, man. Yeah. It sucks for Jamie, man. Like, she just, I don't know, just a weird thing. But I think that, and that is another or a negative of Mercedes feuding with Toni Storm, is that both championships are locked up now. So the other women are kind of just doing whatever. But I think it opens up and kind of forces you to have a story and create a story not focused on the title. So we'll see. Where did Julia Hart go? Did she get injured again? Like, I don't know. She came back and then now she's gone again. So I don't know what's going on with her. And Britt Baker, bro, like, she's just out there living her best life, traveling, doing her dentist shit, I assume. Who knows if we'll ever see her in AEW again? Which is just crazy. It's just crazy when you think about the trajectory of that. But yeah, guys, like I said, we will be wrapping it up here. I hate to jump off. We have more people trickling in, especially on Twitter. But I gotta get going, have some things to do, but I'm hoping, like I said, either later tonight or some point tomorrow, do a live over on Kick-Ass Podcast, go over the AEW recent departures. And it's nothing too crazy yet, but the speculation on Mariah May, kind of delve into that, and a couple other things, and just whatever else gets brought up. You guys know me, just kind of random, shoot the shit. But yeah, we will definitely be. I want to say I'll do one later tonight. It just depends on what happens with work. So we'll see on that. But if I don't go live tonight, I'll definitely be going live some point tomorrow. Probably like early, mid-afternoon-ish. So we'll see. We will see, guys. But we will be wrapping up here, guys. So I appreciate you all for popping in. Universal, the boss, Mackenzie, Devin, all you guys, man. Fernando, of course, Zach, all you guys. If I forget anyone, it's not personal. I apologize. I know James was in here at one point, but yeah, man. Fernando, Kaliko, what up, guys? What up? What up? Yeah, Fernando, it is going to pour here, it looks like. So I want to take my dogs out as well for a little walk. Well, a nice walk so they can get their exercise in before the storms. But yeah, we will be jumping off here. Tony Kart Racer. Yeah, wrestling, man. Wrestling. Yeah. We are diving off here now, my friend, but subscribe, like the video here. If you have not done so, that would definitely help Wrestling Media and help us grow and reach new people and get in that algorithm, man. But yes, Tony Kart Racer, yeah, just some chick over here talking wrestling, man. Nothing too crazy. We try to do it every Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, depending on what time we can get going live. But that's generally the time that I shoot for, just depending on behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, not hopefully, I will be going live sometime between today and tomorrow on Kick-Ass Podcast. So Tony Kart Racer, if you'd like to join us over there, definitely subscribe and check that out. You don't even need to subscribe yet. Just check us out first, and we'll go from there. But all you guys, excuse me, I appreciate it so much. Like I said, you guys make Saturday morning super fun, and it's something that I look forward to every week. Next week, obviously, will be a big show going into Money in the Bank. So yeah, it'll be a heavy day for streaming because I will be doing a watch along for Money in the Bank as well next week. So that will be fun. I'll be doing that over on my channel, Kick-Ass Podcast. Hopefully I'll be doing the preview show here Saturday morning. That's the plan as of right now. So yeah, full day of streaming for you guys. So if you get sick of me, I apologize in advance. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Universally says see you tonight. What time approximately? Like I said, man, I don't know if you're on Twitter, Universal. I'll try to post something there, but if everything goes well and I do not end up going into work, as bad as that sounds, I will, because I gotta get my tooth taken care of. I'm trying to go in somewhere today. If not today, then on Monday. So we'll see, TBD on that. But if not, then I'm anticipating maybe between like the hours of 3 and 5. Not that narrows it down at all, but it would be sometime in like the later-ish afternoon. just depending on how everything goes and the lay of the land for the day. But I appreciate it. Always, you guys are the best. You guys are the MVPs here. So appreciate you guys. Fernando, you said the sun is coming back out right now as we speak. I don't know, man. It still looks gray over here, so we'll see. Your mouth to the universe's ears. We will see. Universal, you're sweet, man. But my camera's wigging out on me. I moved too fast. But James. At 2:30. I don't know about 2:30, but later it would be a little after that, man. Probably closer to like 4 or 5 now that I'm thinking about it, depending on what happens, like appointment wise, how long it takes, if I'm able to get in, things like that. So we'll see. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being flexible with me. You guys are fantastic. Until either later tonight or tomorrow, my friends, be safe out there, Fernando. The weather's crazy, my friend. Be safe. Everyone be safe wherever you are. I appreciate you guys as always. And until next time, friends, stay safe, like I said, out there, and enjoy some wrestling. Take care.